Justice Antonin Scalia was my teacher. And here's the thing, whether you knew him or not, whether you liked him or not, he was your teacher too. He was all of our teacher in a way that behooves all of us to remember as he is being laid to rest this Saturday. He was one of the most polarizing influences on the court, to be sure, a ferocious questioner who engaged those who stood before the bench in ways no one ever had. He was a person of incredibly fierce opinions, and he was not shy about sharing them. And yet, with all of that intensity of commitment to his particular way of seeing things, he also built relationships across boundaries in remarkable ways, that any of us were rooted in a particular faith or politics or pretty much anything, and don't want to live our faith or our politics in a silo, but actually build genuine constructive relationships across those borders. We could all learn a thing or two from Justice Scalia, and in this case also from his counterpart, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. In reflecting almost immediately upon her friend's death, a man who she described as her best buddy, Justice Ginsburg said, the great thing was that we appreciated each other. And they didn't just appreciate each other and were excited to see each other's ideas and read each other's views and talk about them. That wasn't simply because they would look for the places of agreement and build the relationship on that, as is so often the case. And it wasn't despite the differences that they knew they would go on having. No, to watch the relationship between Judge Scalia and Judge Ginsburg was to watch people who relished the differences because they knew they could learn from them. Not necessarily be converted or convinced, but genuinely be a better person and a better version of who they most wanted to be because of learning from the person who understood the task quite differently. And it wasn't just that they would argue with each other as a stone sharpens a blade by eroding it. No, in this case, they really grew from each other and with each other. And in a world in which fierce opinions so often become the reason not to engage, or at best to venture forth in order to drag people over to our side, or have them better understand us, Antonin Scalia and his best buddy, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, are reminders to us that actually it's not about who we convince or who we are convinced by. It's not about pushing aside difference in order to build relationship. It's being able to see the rich potential in at least some of the things about which we will never agree, but can surely learn. And really knowing deep down that that learning can only come from that person who is so very different from us, but shares our pursuit, whether it's a pursuit of faith, or justice, or wisdom. None of those are ideas so small that they could ever be owned by any one person or camp. And each of them has unique teachings, which even if we never share them, we can all grow from them. I'm going to miss that about Justice Scalia, and I hope whoever joins the court is able to bring that kind of ferocity of commitment and that kind of genuine joy in the learning that can only come when engaging with people who are fundamentally different than we are.